Welcome to A Word with the Girls. I'm Molly, and I'm joined by my sisters, Emily and Abby. Normally, the format of our podcast would include a mini catch-up, check-in session with the sisters, and then a dive into our randomly chosen word. But the next few episodes will be a little bit different. We want to give listeners a chance to get to know each of us a little bit better. So we'll be using the same rapid-fire questions and then follow with a brief summary of where we've been and what we've been up to for the last 10 years. Today's episode will be featuring Abby. She is the youngest of the three of us. All right, you ready?
I hope so.
Okay, who lives with you at home?
I have my husband, Alex, my oldest daughter, Amelia, Amos, my son, my baby, Annie, and my fur baby, Maple. She's a Labradoodle.
What's your favorite part about being a grown-up?
I think that I can get in my car and go drive to any store I want to.
What's your least favorite part about being a grown-up?
Making dinner and doing the dishes.
What's something that you're good at?
Multitasking.
What's something you wish you were better at?
Healthier self-talk.
What do you like to do for fun?
Run.
When you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Couple things. Mia Hamm. She was like the soccer star. And then a musician.
What's your favorite snack?
Cheez-Its.
What would you wish for if you had 3 wishes?
That Alex could be a stay-at-home parent with me. That we had enough money to just travel whenever we wanted to. Yeah, in a house with land and space.
What's your wake-up routine?
Get up, make pour-over, and read my Bible.
What's your bedtime routine?
I love to take a shower every night. So I take a shower, brush my teeth, pump, go to bed.
What's your favorite time of day?
It depends. I love a slow morning with my kids at home. When we have nowhere to be, we could just snuggle on the couch and drink coffee. But my other favorite time of day is when Alex and I have finally put all the kids to sleep and we're sitting on the couch, finally getting a chance to look each other in the eyes and have a conversation.
What's a country you'd like to visit?
Iceland.
Heels, flats, or sneakers?
Sneakers.
Who's your style icon?
Joanna Gaines.
What are 3 things you can't live without?
My husband and kids. Coffee. God.
What's one ingredient you put in or on everything?
Cinnamon.
Who's someone living or dead that you'd like to make dinner for?
Maybe Ruth Cho.
What's your biggest fear in life?
Being misunderstood.
Window or aisle?
Window.
Current TV obsession?
The Cabin Chronicles on the Magnolia Network.
Favorite app?
Pinterest.
All right, what is your secret talent?
My grit.
Most adventurous thing you've done in your life?
Running the Imogene Pass run. I've done it 4 times.
All right, how would you define yourself in 3 words?
Loyal, determined, creative.
Favorite piece of clothing you own?
This really soft old Telluride shirt that I got 10 years ago, and it has holes in it, but it's so soft.
Superpower you want?
To freeze time.
What or who inspires you?
I think it's like a characteristic. Really positive people are inspiring.
Best piece of advice you've ever received?
Nothing is guaranteed.
Advice you'd give your teenage self?
Be who you are unapologetically.
A book that everyone should read?
Anything by Jenny Allen. Find Your People is really good.
What would you like to be remembered for?
Showing up and loving people, checking in on people.
Best way to take a rest or decompress?
Go on a run.
Beach or mountains?
Mountains. What am I saying?
Savory or sweet?
Sweet.
Milk or dark?
Dark.
If you could master one instrument, what would it be?
Banjo.
Best gift you've ever received?
My children.
Favorite board game?
Settlers of Catan.
Favorite color?
Teal.
Least favorite color?
Red.
Diamonds or pearls?
Diamonds.
Pilates or yoga?
Yoga.
Go-to coffee order?
Shaken iced espresso with white chocolate and the sweet cream foam on top.
Favorite season?
Fall.
You're stuck on an island and you can pick one food to eat forever without getting tired of it. What would you eat?
Sushi.
What's a dessert you don't like?
Bread pudding.
Best compliment you've ever received?
You're an exceptional mother.
Favorite smell?
Volcano from Anthro.
If you made a documentary, what would it be about?
The secret life of a homeschool mom.
Ooh.
Nice. What's a song you can listen to on repeat?
Anything Bon Iver.
If you could switch lives with someone for a day, who would it be?
Taylor Swift.
What are you most grateful for right now?
To be living out the dream that I always knew I was called to do.
What's something that makes you laugh out loud?
When my husband and I have inside jokes.
Give us a brief synopsis of the last 10 years.
All right. So 10 years ago, my husband and I had just moved to Colorado Springs, newly married. And we were actually getting ready to go travel. He was signing a contract as a traveling physical therapist. So we packed up all our stuff and hit the road, and we traveled for about a year. We went to Florida, Arizona. We went to Thailand to see Molly for a little bit. Went to Korea, and we ended up here in Junction. We didn't think we would stay here, but he ended up getting a full-time job, and I got to go back to school. Shortly after I started back at school, I got pregnant, and so school got put back on the back burner again. And then we had Millie in 2016, and then I was able to finish school. Finally, got a degree in business administration and marketing, and then I started my own little business called Mountain Baby Co. And after that, I was able to stay at home. I was a mommy blogger for an organic baby company. And then we got pregnant with Amos. And Amos was born in 2018. And then shortly after he was born, I got it on my heart that God was calling me to homeschool my kids. And so I delved into homeschooling. And I've been doing that now for the last 7 years. Yeah, and so a lot of my life is spent at home in my house with Millie and Amos, and this year we just had our third kiddo, Annie, and so yeah, I'm at home with my 3 kids, and yeah, living in Junction.
A lot's happened in the last 10 years. Lots of growth.
Yeah.
I touched on all of it.
Mal, what's your favorite thing about Abby?
I am always impressed with your confidence, and your ability to create things. I love that with your business, the things that you create are so uniquely yours because you tailor them and craft them in just a really distinct and intentional way, and it's really impressive. So
thank you. I think of a few things. Well, I think your loyalty to the people you love is so evident, whether that's your friends or Alex or your kids. You will defend them to the end, and so I think that that's a really admirable quality. But just like what Molly says, your creativity always blows my mind, and it's just so fun to see you come up with these ideas and then you make it happen. You really are just so determined, and so I don't know, it's just really cool for you to just push beyond maybe those fears that you may have, and it just turns out really cool. So super proud of what you're doing.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
So that wraps up the episode on Abby.
all right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us on those rapid fire questions, getting to know each of us. After we finished, we realized that Abby's interview was the shortest and sweetest, which sounds about right. She's had to get used to getting her words in there quickly between the two of us. And so we just there was a few things, important parts of her story and some of our other stories that were missing. And so I just wanted to make sure that we didn't leave anything out. So, one of the cool things that Abby does is that she mentioned that she has a degree in business marketing, but she has really put that to use in addition to being a mom and a homeschooling educator. She also has a business on the side. So I figured, one, you need to share about that. And two, there's nothing wrong with a shameless plug. So get on in there.
That's true. Yeah. So I have this little business that I started, 7 years ago. It actually started out as Abby Doodles Creations.
That's right.
My dad used to call me Abby Doodle. That was like my nickname. And I just thought it was cute and whimsical. And so at that time, 7 years ago, I was trying to just, come up with a new hobby, see if I like to sew or knit. And all my friends were starting to have kids. And so I started knitting, and it was really fun, and people really loved what I was making. So I knit a bunch of hats for people, but I realized that it was like really time consuming. So I kind of faded from knitting and moved into sewing. And there for a while, it was on Etsy, and I sold my stuff in our hometown of Flagstaff at Mountain Sports, and that was really special for a little season. And then as I had kids, I kind of realized like, okay, I think sewing makes more sense. I can make stuff that my babies could use. And I've always loved the mountains, and something about incorporating like adventure and usefulness, but also whimsical into baby stuff just was really fun. And so I decided to rebrand, and I rebranded to Mountain Baby Co. And so, yeah, that's been going now as that name for, how old is Millie? 7? Yeah, that's been going for about 5 years. So it's been super fun. And right now, my best product is this pebble pouch. It's this cute little bag that kiddos clip around their waist to carry all their treasures that they find hiking and at the beach. And I made it for my own kids. When I would go hiking with them, they would always hand me all their treasures that they found. And I knew that there was a solution. And so I made the pebble pouch. And so sewing and Mountain Baby Co. are kind of my outlet these days for how I feed my creative soul and my business entrepreneurial self. And yeah, it's been really fun. I've participated in some of the local Colorado markets in the mountains, and I'm kind of dabbling with some Montessori people, and it's just been a really fun outlet for me. I feel like it helps me feed my individual self and not like my momming Abby or my education Abby, like educator Abby, but more just like who I am as an individual. So it's been really fun.
Yeah, I think it's so impressive to like watch you do your thing. Since I moved here, I've been able to help with like a couple of the markets. And even when I tell people, like, I'm like, oh yeah, she sells stuff on Etsy on the side, but then I have to like add a disclaimer of like, no, like she's like really legit and really talented and has like a whole like vision behind what she's doing. And like, you can just really see your marketing side and like those wheels turning. And it's just like so not anything that I like. That's not how my brain works. It's not anything that I'm like passionate about. But it's like such a gift in you. And I just like love watching it. And your stuff is so beautiful. And it's just really impressive. So anyways,
thank you.
We had to make sure that it like made its way onto the podcast.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. It is important. I think it's just this part of me that, I don't know, it's just part of who I am. It's not really, it is special, but I think it's just who I am. And so I guess I kind of forget about it. But it's only because it just is like second nature for me, you know?
And did
Well, and
you,
speaking,
well, I
go
was
ahead.
going to ask, didn't you create a new line of potential products now that you're dabbling in homeschool? Don't you have like a new side
Yes.
brand?
Yeah, it's called Mountain Baby Schoolhouse. So everything I make and everything I create and design, I have to use. Like that's like the goal behind it. Like, what am I using? Surely there's other moms, homeschool moms that would see this as useful or fun or whatever. And so I've slowly started integrating stuff that I'm using into Mountain Baby Co. as Mountain Baby Schoolhouse. So like I have it's not on my shop yet, but it's kind of our routine that we do every day. It's like a routine that you can laminate, and then you write the lessons you're doing and you give them to your kiddos so they know what's expected of them. There's like a weekly breakdown, and it's honestly just how I run my homeschool, and everyone's homeschool looks different, but it just is what works for me. And so I figure, all right, well, I can share it. And if someone finds it useful, cool. If not, totally okay. But it's just, yeah, I'm just passionate about making things that are useful and that are beautiful to look at. So, like, yes, you could easily go to the store and buy a basic calendar, but gosh, if you're using it every day, looking at it every day, wouldn't it be so much more fun if it was pretty and fit the aesthetic of what you want your homeschool to look like? Yeah. So,
So fun. So you can go find her at Mountain Baby Co. on Instagram and Etsy, right?
yes, follow me. If you mention podcast, I'll give you 10% off.
Ooh,
Whoa.
you heard it here,
Whoa.
folks. I told you to listen to the end of this episode because there was going to be some bonus content.
Oh, man.
That's funny.
I also feel like it's important, speaking of second nature, for Emily to give a little bit more detail about what her current situation / job is, because it's also extremely impressive and also not at all anything that I am capable of doing. And so, yeah, Emily, tell us a little bit more about your influencing endeavors.
Sure. Well, the timeline is so interesting, Abby, because it's so close to you. I mean, I started pursuing a career in the fitness industry like 8 years ago, shortly after kind of some things changed in life. And I don't know what made me want to start a YouTube channel where I would offer fitness classes for people living with multiple sclerosis. But I started this YouTube channel called Keep Moving with Emily, where I provide seated or standing options. And over the years, I have definitely improved in my skills and my content in terms of like what it looks like and everything. But yeah, I've been doing that for like 8 years now, which has been really fun to learn how to edit videos and make content that's ultimately making fitness accessible for people living with MS or other medical conditions or limited mobility. So yeah, and then I have like an Instagram too, Keep Moving with Emily, where I try to put out like encouraging content to help encourage people and motivate people to get moving. Sometimes that looks like showing different exercises to workouts to motivational quotes. So I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing with it all and seeing if I can like create an actual business. But through those channels, I have gotten connected to some pretty cool opportunities of like teaching with big MS centers and partnering with some other nonprofit organizations and using my skills as like a consultant.
mm-hmm.
So
I think it's cool because it just shows how fearless you are. Like, you're fearless in making friends and like putting yourself out there, and then fearless in putting yourself out there on YouTube. Like, who knows who will watch it, but you're like, it doesn't matter. And then now learning how to do this podcasting thing and editing these videos, like you're just willing to jump in, do it, and truly try and be the best at it. Like that's like you, and there's no one else out there doing it like you.
well, thank you. Yeah, no, it definitely feels very vulnerable, when you put yourself out there because you are opening yourself to critique. And that's the same thing with like making a product or writing a blog like Molly, you do. And I definitely have seen some trolls and trying to figure out like, okay, do I let that bother me or do I just delete it and ignore it? If things get, more popular and stuff, like us being aware of that and how are we going to fight against the trolls. But
I think even with like making like sewing products for me and stuff, people could easily just choose and copy it. Even though all the things that I create are my own patterns, I don't buy any else's patterns. You put yourself out there and you hope that people kind of back up what you're doing. And then you got to just go with that.
Yeah. Well, and I think what's cool is like the three of us have like such creative minds, but it looks so different. Like I am not crafty at all. Molly, you're quite the baker and you're quite the writer, and Abby, you like can create these beautiful products, and I'm more of like maybe on like the media side, but using our gifts, to be a healthy outlet for us, I think is kind of cool too. Because for those of you who don't know, Molly is quite the writer. She's had a blog. You started it like what? When you were in Indonesia or something?
Yeah. I started a blog back in like 2007. Actually, I also had one when I went to Ecuador that summer in 2006. I think it was a live journal or something, just in case you were wondering how old I was. So yeah, had a live journal for my time in Ecuador. And then when I moved to Indonesia, my blog was Molly the Teacher, and just documenting my adventures in Indonesia. And then I started a different one when I moved to Bangkok, that turned more from like just documenting things to like kind of the reflections around the work I was doing and the things that were really challenging and the way that it was like shaping and influencing my faith. And then I've just kind of kept writing on that one when I feel inspired. I feel weird like plugging it at all because I do not keep up with it regularly, but every once in a while I feel inspired and then put some thoughts out there. So yeah.
Your way with words is like, wow, can
amazing.
You write everything for me? Like, yeah, you're so intentional with the words you use and it's communicated so well. Or anytime I've had to like write an email for something important, like, Molly, help.
Yeah, you really like transport your readers to wherever you are, like the way you like describe where you are, like you just feel like you're there, and that's definitely a skill. And then I know you had mentioned in your little quickfire like your desire to make the world understand what a school psych is, and you also have like a Instagram, which I really appreciate. That's like what, Molly the school psych or something. And like is that like that's kind of the hope behind that too, of like sharing those resources and stuff?
Yeah, a little bit. I think there's quite the like community or network out there of school psychs with their own Instagrams, and everybody kind of has their own goal behind it. I'm certainly not looking to be an influencer, but I think I created it during School Psych Awareness Week. So that should give you some clue. We don't have an appreciation week. We have an awareness week because people don't know what we do. And so, yeah, as a way to like mark that week, I was like, oh, I should start this Instagram and then just kind of put things on there that are, kind of joking about what it's like to be a school psych, but then also putting resources for parents and teachers around like behavior and mental health for kids, and also some of the like social justice stuff that comes up, particularly around education and vulnerable kids and marginalized groups and things like that. So it's kind of a nice place to put some of those kind of things, and also like highlight different organizations that are doing good work with kids and mental health, and then like really inspiring educators as well. So yeah, so those are my two things. I mean, my sisters are the ones who are the entrepreneurs and the creative types who create things and put them into the world. But I do have the blog and
Your way with words.
the psych Instagram. So yeah. So I think we can make sure that we post all of the links to these things in the description of the podcast, so you can look us up.
Yeah. So now that we've had our shameless plugs, from now on, our podcast will sound somewhat different, I guess, right? Like moving forward.
Yeah, we're going to be moving into the regularly scheduled programming, regular structure. Yeah. Yeah. So thanks for joining us on A Word with the Girls. Thanks for getting to know us a little bit over the last 3 episodes. We're excited to continue this journey with you, and we hope you tune in next time.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Love you more. Bye.